What if someone has been showing you they don't respect you for months, and you've been waiting for them to finally say it? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Disrespect is rarely announced. It leaks out through small moments, an interrupted sentence, a dismissive glance, a broken promise that somehow keeps repeating. Most people don't wake up and decide to say, "I don't respect you." Instead, their behavior quietly tells the story. The problem is that these signals are easy to excuse. You tell yourself they're busy, they're stressed, they didn't mean it. Sometimes that's true, but when several of these behaviors appear together over time, they can reveal a deeper pattern. Understanding these signals isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about recognizing relationship patterns before they slowly erode your confidence, your friendships, or even your career. So as you watch, think back to your recent conversations. Have any of these happened to you? And would you recognize them if they happened again tomorrow? Let's begin with one of the most overlooked signs. 1. They constantly interrupt you. Imagine you're halfway through explaining an idea. Before you've even finished your sentence, they jump in. They correct you, change the subject, or begin telling their own story. Once isn't unusual. Everyone interrupts occasionally, especially during excited conversations. But when someone consistently talks over you while giving others room to speak, they're communicating something beyond impatience. Communication experts often point out that conversations are also negotiations of status. Giving someone time to finish signals that their thoughts deserve attention. Repeated interruption can suggest that your perspective is being treated as less valuable. Former FBI behavioral expert Paul Ekman and body language specialist Joe Navarro both emphasize looking for behavioral patterns rather than isolated moments. Context always matters. So what should you do? Don't compete by talking louder. Pause. Then calmly continue where you left off. People who genuinely respect you often realize what happened and allow you to finish. Those who repeatedly ignore your attempts may be revealing something much deeper. But interruption isn't the only way respect quietly disappears. Sometimes the silence says even more. 2. They rarely acknowledge your presence. Have you ever walked into a room where everyone greets each other except you? Or maybe someone barely makes eye contact, gives a distracted nod, and immediately turns to someone else. At first glance, it seems harmless, but humans are deeply wired to notice social inclusion. Psychologists describe belonging as one of our fundamental emotional needs. Small acts of acknowledgement, eye contact, greetings, remembering your name, signal that you matter within the group. When those behaviors consistently disappear, people often experience feelings of exclusion without fully understanding why. Here's what most people miss. Respect isn't only shown through grand gestures. It's often communicated through ordinary moments, repeated consistently. Notice whether this behavior happens only once, or whether it's becoming a pattern across different situations, because the next sign often follows naturally after this one. 3. They dismiss your opinions without considering them. Picture a team meeting. You suggest an idea. The room goes quiet. 5 minutes later, someone else repeats almost the exact same idea. Suddenly, everyone loves it. Have you ever experienced that? Social psychologists call this an example of status bias. People sometimes evaluate ideas based on who presents them, rather than the quality of the idea itself. Respect influences whether people genuinely consider what you say before deciding whether they agree. Notice something important. Respect doesn't require agreement. People can completely disagree while still listening carefully. Dismissal happens when someone rejects your perspective before they've truly heard it. If this happens repeatedly, avoid becoming defensive. Instead, calmly ask questions that bring attention back to your point. Sometimes confidence isn't speaking louder. It's refusing to disappear. And speaking of disappearing, there's another behavior that's surprisingly revealing. 4. They only contact you when they need something. Think about the last few messages you've received from certain people. Do they only appear when they need advice, money, a favor, a recommendation, then vanish until the next request? Healthy relationships usually involve mutual interest. Respect includes curiosity about your life, not just your usefulness. Behavioral science shows that reciprocal relationships create stronger trust because both people invest over time. If every interaction feels transactional, ask yourself an honest question. If you stopped solving their problems tomorrow, would they still call? The answer may reveal more than you expect, but the next sign can quietly damage confidence without anyone raising their voice. 5. They make you the punchline. Humor is one of the strongest bonding tools humans have, but it also has another side. Imagine someone constantly making jokes at your expense. Whenever you object, they smile. Relax. It was only a joke. Sometimes humor really is harmless, but repeated public embarrassment disguised as comedy can become a subtle dominant strategy. Researchers studying social dynamics have found that teasing strengthens relationships only when both people enjoy it equally. If one person repeatedly feels diminished, the interaction stops being playful. Respectful people pay attention when they realize they've crossed a line. Someone who continues after you've expressed discomfort is giving you valuable information. This next sign is even quieter. 6. Their actions never match their words. I'll be there. I'll call tomorrow. I've got your back. The promises sound reassuring. The follow-through never arrives. Trust isn't built by intentions. It's built by consistency. Psychologist Robert Cialdini has long discussed the importance of consistency in human behavior. People naturally trust those whose actions align with their words. When promises repeatedly dissolve into excuses, respect often fades alongside reliability. Instead of focusing on what people promise, watch what they repeatedly do. Patterns predict far more than promises. But now we reach one of the strongest indicators of all. 7. They ignore your boundaries. Imagine saying you're unavailable this weekend. They pressure you anyway. You ask them not to bring up a sensitive topic. They laugh and do it again. Boundaries aren't walls. They're guidelines that define healthy relationships. Someone may accidentally cross one. A respectful person usually apologizes and adjusts. Someone who repeatedly ignores clear boundaries communicates that their preferences matter more than yours. Have you ever noticed how exhausting those relationships become? That's because constantly defending your boundaries consumes emotional energy. The healthiest relationships require surprisingly little defending. But there's one final sign that ties everything together. 8. They celebrate others, but stay silent about your success. You earn a promotion, finish a difficult project, reach a personal goal. Instead of congratulating you, they change the subject, or minimize your achievement, or immediately start talking about themselves. Not everyone expresses excitement in the same way. Some people are naturally reserved. That's why context matters. But if someone consistently struggles to acknowledge your wins while enthusiastically celebrating everyone else's, it may reflect discomfort with your growing confidence, or simply a lack of investment in your success. People who respect you don't need your victories to threaten their own. They recognize that encouragement costs nothing and strengthens relationships. And that's perhaps the biggest lesson of all. Respect isn't revealed by one glance, one joke, one forgotten text, or one awkward conversation. It's revealed through clusters of behavior repeated over time. That's exactly what behavioral experts like Joe Navarro encourage us to observe. Body language and communication are most meaningful when we look for consistent patterns within the broader context, not isolated gestures or moments. So the next time something feels off, don't rush to conclusions. Slow down. Observe. Ask yourself whether you're seeing a temporary situation or a repeating pattern. Because understanding people isn't about becoming cynical. It's about becoming socially aware. The more accurately you recognize healthy respect and quiet disrespect, the better equipped you'll be to build stronger friendships, healthier relationships, and greater confidence in every conversation. So here's a question for you. Which of these silent signs have you experienced the most, and which one surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you want to better understand people, strengthen your emotional intelligence, and master the hidden psychology behind everyday interactions, subscribe for more insights. Sometimes the loudest message is the one that was never spoken at all.